I never thought that Kabir was like some great guy. And it's one of my favorite characters. You know, the one thing that that film did for me is that I realized I don't want to make movies for critics. I don't want to make movies for awards. I want to make movies for the audience. It damaged me. Being in front of the media and not knowing what to say and being always second guessing what you should say, what you shouldn't say.
Hi Shahid, welcome to the Quint and thank you so much for making the time.
My pleasure.
I want to congratulate you on completing 20 years and more in the industry. Tell me something, when you look back at the day you started off, did you ever imagine this is how amazing your life would look personally, professionally, in every way?
So of course I didn't imagine this is where I would be. Like, I'm very thankful and also proud of, you know,
As you
the
should
last
be.
20 years.
Yeah.
I feel very fortunate to still be here. And I think like the best thing that I've learned over these 20 years is to be a student and to keep
Nice.
learning.
Yeah.
You know, that's the most, I think that's the most like nourishing part of this journey. It's like
Yeah.
you can keep learning and absorbing, you know.
After 20 years, if you had to look back to a moment where you feel like your career trajectory sort of shifted,
Yeah.
right? Do you remember how the audience or even the people from the industry viewed you before and after that shift in your career?
Well, there have been a few. The first was actually my first film.
Yeah.
I was a nobody and I struggled for many years. A lot of people think, you know, my dad is an actor, but I actually never lived with him. And I was very loyal to my mother. And at the same time, we come from a family where my father was probably one of the finest actors ever.
Still is.
Yeah, exactly. And so he earned it with his craft and with his work. And, you know, so that's how I look at things. Like I wanted to earn it on my own. I didn't want to really, you know. So of course, went out there, didn't really tell anybody much,
Yeah.
and did the regular rounds and got rejected many times over. And then my first film happened, and then suddenly I was the flavor of the season, and everybody was like, "This is the guy," and this is the. And you feel like, oh, okay, that wasn't that tough.
Yeah.
You know, I'm there. I remember I heard Roger Federer say this once. He says, the easiest part of this journey was getting to #1, and the toughest part of the journey was staying there. So, of course, Ishq Vishk was the first huge transition for me. I don't think I had ever seen more than 1 lakh rupees in my bank. And then suddenly people were offering me a little more than that for a movie. I was like, Mom, we've never had so much money. They're offering it to me as a signing amount. And, you know, so it was like this huge change that
Big
happened
moment.
in my life. And, you know, it was a big one for my mother
Yeah.
because I'm her elder son. And, you know, she's been worked really hard her whole life. And Ishaan was young at that time. And we had seen some really tough years where Mom was really struggling and I was trying to support. And it was just a relief. You know, so that one was like, just like, I think we'll be okay for the next few years. I think the next big shift for me was somewhere between Jab We Met and Kamine. I would say Kamine.
Yes.
I would say Kamine was the next big shift for me because I was able to break out of the, you know, this image that people try to, and now, though it's little better, at that time it was very bad, where you just got slotted, you know, and nobody wanted to see you do anything else, you know. And then Kamine just helped me break out of that. And then the next big shift for me personally, I would say, was Haider.
Yes.
You know, I did the film for free, and because they couldn't afford me, and they said we can't make this film, and it was extremely experimental.
Right.
And it was the most satisfying at that time experience of my life as an actor, and it gave me a lot of love, a lot of credibility,
Yes.
and a lot of self-belief. You know, it set me free somewhere as an artist that I can explore, and I don't need to, you know, I don't need to like just abhi ye commercial hai, ye commercial nahi hai, and all that. I just kind of felt something beyond that, and that really empowered me to make choices which were not, you know, like really conservative and boring. And then I think it would be Kabir Singh. It exploded.
It
and
elevated everything for you.
and it just, you know, it reached out to a very wide audience, and it was a lot of like hectic love.
Yes.
Also some heavy criticism.
Yeah.
And the one thing that that film did for me is that I realized I don't want to make movies for critics. I don't want to make movies for awards. I want to make movies for the audience, and that's it.
Right.
That clarity, I think, is the most important thing that an actor needs to get, or a creative person needs to get. And it was extremely liberating for me, because it's like your focus is not divided.
Yeah.
Ye bhi. Otherwise, it's
Yeah.
like you're like trying to balance everything.
And trying to please everybody.
Yeah, and trying to please everybody, or everything is on your mind, and
Yeah.
you're trying to like see what, and that just makes you unstable. Once you are focused on one central thing, and
Yeah.
you know this is what I need to do, it's as simple as that. It just grounds you. So
Yeah.
I think that's what Kabir did for me. Farzi was also very, very kind of. It played a big role in my life
Right.
because I flipped formats for the first time. I went
Yes.
onto the digital platform.
Yeah.
You know, the kind of love that I've gotten for Farzi is fantastic. I mean, I can't compare it to a movie, and I don't need to, because it's two
Absolutely.
very different things.
So, Shahid, after what you just said about Kabir Singh, of course, like you said, it was also hectic criticism, which I think you dealt with beautifully, by the way.
I don't know. I dealt with it decently.
Yeah.
I think I have a lot more perspective now.
Yeah.
You know, but at that time, it was a lot. But yeah, I just held back for a long time.
So, would I be right to say that if this was offered to you again, you would do it? Because I'm thinking that's how you
It's
went
one of
in.
my favorite characters, you know, because I never thought that Kabir was like some great guy. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not my perspective of Kabir.
Yeah.
I think he had a lot of real love, and then he had a certain issues,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what made him compelling and watchable.
Interesting.
You know, because cinema is about playing characters that give you a experience, like it's
Yeah.
a visceral experience, it can be a shocking experience. Those
Yeah.
are the things that characters in cinema are supposed to do.
Right.
He was a flawed character, we said it from day one.
This whole argument about, cinema's impact on society,
I think the argument needs to shift to society's impact on cinema now.
that's true as well.
Cinema doesn't live in a vacuum.
Absolutely not.
I think more than cinema shaping society, I
Yeah.
think society shapes cinema. I think we live in a time where people are very easy on the tongue.
Yeah.
Everybody feels the need to criticize, finding the fault before appreciating the goodness.
Right.
You know, I think, and I live by this rule of karma. I feel that what goes around comes around. I believe in that. So I feel that always try and find the good things in everything. You know?
Yeah. Intense
At least
thoughts.
I feel like that.
Intense thoughts there, Shahid. Shahid, if you could talk about the industry,
Yeah.
along the way you've probably made so many friends. You worked with so many great actors,
Sure.
directors.
Yeah.
Is it sort of easy to stay in touch with them? How's your experience been when it comes to?
I've never tried to stay in touch with people beyond the natural kind of connect. And
Yeah.
a lot of the times that maybe in the first 7-8 years I did,
Yeah.
10 years I did, because I was in my early 20s, and you spend all your time on a film set.
Yeah.
So you literally live your life on a film set.
Yeah.
तो दोस्त भी यहीं बनाने हैं, सब यहीं करना है.
Yeah.
These are short-lived relationships,
Yeah.
and you're meeting for a short period of time, and then people move into other things. And also I feel that the film fraternity is it's a tight fraternity.
Yeah.
And I think there is a lot of life that exists outside that.
Of course.
And I feel if you want to be a balanced person, you're anyway spending so much time as an actor, as
Yeah.
a star,
Yeah.
which comes with the territory wherever you go within
Yeah.
the film world.
Yeah.
You can't say like
Honestly.
somebody's meeting you just as a person. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very nice, idealistic thought, but it's not true. So it's nice to make friends and be close to family whose agenda is not what your job is.
Yeah.
Their agenda is you. I like the fact that I have few friends, and most of them are from outside the fraternity, and I have many like social friends, and I have
Yes.
many colleagues, but I wouldn't call all of them my friends.
Yeah, of course, of course.
And I think I say it in a very healthy way, because I don't want to put the pressure of true friendship on relationships that many a times are kind of they are for that period.
Yeah. Shahid, if you could talk a little bit about the influence your parents have had in your life and your career.
Yeah. So what I kind of realized after I became a parent, because then you have both point of views,
Yeah.
and you're like, you were the child and now you're the parent, and now
Yeah.
it's flipped on you, and that really you're like, oh my God, I was
know.
only seeing it from there. This is what happens on the other side, Parents play a role in your life where they are your world, So everything that you want to be, you learn from them.
Yeah.
And everything you don't want to be also, you learn from them.
Nicely said. Coming back to the fact that you were, of course, born to actor parents, right? But that time, luckily, the kids could have a protected childhood. They weren't being papped. They weren't in the
But I
limelight.
never lived
Stayed
with
away.
my dad.
Yeah.
Plus, my dad was doing more of character roles and
Yeah.
this and that. So he was not in that whole star
Yeah.
universe at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Nobody really knew who I was. my mom was doing television serials and stuff
Yeah.
like that again. And then when Ishaan happened, which was when I was 14,
Yeah.
she took off work. And then
Yeah.
she struggled to get back to work because, you know, after 4-5 years of taking care of him,
Yeah.
it was not that easy for her to get work. And she was very talented. She
Definitely.
still is. And, you know,
Yes.
like, and she it just went away. And so you realize, you know, it's like, it's tough. I saw that she sacrificed so much of her career for Ishaan, and by virtue of that, I understood she sacrificed so much for me.
Yeah.
You know, and you understand to value just having work. You know,
Yeah.
that in
Yeah.
itself is a privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people are so choosy these days. Oh, you know, I don't do this and I don't do that, and I'm like, bhai, pehle acting seekh liya. You know, my mom was such a fine actor and she didn't get work.
That's really sad though.
No, but I mean, she's such a great mother and she's
Yeah.
there for me and Ishaan in every way. And, you know, we have only her to thank, and, you know, like, she's fundamental to everything that we are today.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that God plans things in different ways, you know. I mean, maybe her dreams at a later stage, because she was a huge achiever. She
Yes.
has been on the stamp of India at the age of 16, which I
Yeah.
don't think me and Ishaan can ever dream of. You know, and, you know, she's represented India and traveled
Yeah.
the world. But, you know, today maybe her dreams are being manifested through us.
My earlier question was coming from the fact that you were born to actor parents. I know, like you said, they probably weren't stars and in the limelight, but they also kind of protected you. But today, kids don't have that freedom. They step out and they're being backed. And there are a lot of people who don't like it as an actor and as a
Yeah.
parent. What is your opinion on it?
No, so it is intrusive definitely for the
Yeah.
children. Even when I got married, you know, Meera was very young. She was only 20 years old and she came from a very different world. She came from Delhi and she was just passed out of college. And so even with her, I used to feel like, you know, because see, I have been doing this for so many years.
Yeah.
I started when I was 21 and I know how much it damaged me.
Okay.
Being in front of the media and not knowing what to say and being always second guessing what you should say, what you shouldn't say, what you should do,
Yeah.
what you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
At a very early age, you're not formed enough to even know who you are.
Absolutely.
And then all this pressure, right? So I was like, you know, how will she be? But
Yeah.
thankfully, she was way more confident than I was. You know, I used to get thrown off, but she was very like sure-footed, and, you know, so, and everybody noticed that about her.
Yeah.
And then once, you know, we became parents, we both wanted to give our children as much balance as we can.
Yeah.
And I think like exposure to certain spaces at an early age can definitely be detrimental.
Yeah.
So our parental instinct is to protect them.
Absolutely.
You know, so my instinct would always be to protect them as much as I can and give them as much normalcy as I can,
Yeah.
knowing who I am.
Yeah.
I can't be, you know, living in denial.
Yeah, for sure.
But when you know that, okay, this is the positive and the negative, you have to minimize the negative. That's my role as a parent. If I do nothing about it,
Yeah.
then how am I a parent? You know, what am
Yeah.
I doing for them?
Shahid, you know, we all have these instances in our lives that somewhere kind of define or mold us into being the people we become
Sure.
into adulthood, right? When I ask you this question, is there a moment that comes to your mind or an instance that you feel kind of really made you sort of is responsible for who you are today?
It's my spiritual path.
Okay.
I always had a spiritual leaning. I always was very curious about life and about the source of life and about why we are here and what's the point of it all.
Yeah.
And I was very lost because I didn't have any answers, and so I couldn't make sense of anything.
Right.
So I was like, good things happen to bad people, bad things happen to good
Yeah.
people. What's going on?
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
what's going
absolutely.
on? I follow the Radhaswami path, and I
Yeah.
kind of came onto it, really connected with it, and I think that helped me set context to everything. I think that helped me understand things much better,
Yeah.
understand myself better.
Yeah.
And I think amongst other things like being an actor
Yeah.
and being a parent and
Yeah.
being a child, I'm actually on the quest of finding myself and my relationship with God. So, you know, everything else becomes temporary and that becomes permanent.
Yeah.
And so you can separate yourself from everything if you think that there is a larger goal to work towards. Everything becomes like, ye abhi ka hai.
Huh.
You know, and then so you don't feel so bad about it.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, ये अभी ऐसा है, कल कुछ और होगा.
Right.
You know, and you approach life like that, and I think that's just an easier way of playing with life, and you don't take everything personally. Like, it happens, it's life. You know, it's like a
But it's
journey.
difficult to do on most occasions.
So that's
I
what,
would
like,
think.
I also struggled with it, but like
Yeah.
this really helped me.
So, Shahid, when you look at the actors in today's generation, what is the difference that you see?
I think they know more than they actually do. They kind of know more than maybe what I did at their age.
Yeah.
But the theoretical knowledge is more.
Yeah.
So practical experience is less.
Right.
And I think they're a lot more prepared, but also in too much of a hurry.
Yeah.
Extremely talented, but playing the short game. Let's see who plays the long game, because you can run 100 meters, you can be here for 10 years,
Yeah.
or you can run the marathon and be here for like 35, 40 years. So, you know,
Yeah.
that is the main thing. I feel like that has changed. Everybody's looking at, instant gratification.
Yeah.
It comes from, your phones
Yeah.
and everything. And when you're looking for instant gratification, you're looking right here, you're not looking there, and as you grow older, you learn like, I want to look there. I don't want
Yeah.
to think about this.
Yeah.
This is one step to where I want to go. This step is not everything.
Yeah. Just a few quick questions, okay? A film of yours that you would love your kids to watch first.
They've already watched it, Jab We Met.
Oh, what was-
they re-released it in theaters, and then
Yes.
My mother decided to take them and show them the movie, and they really enjoyed it, and they came back and said like, why don't you have a beard in that movie? Because I think ever since I've had them, I've always had
Yeah.
a stubble or a beard.
Yeah.
So I'm happy they saw that film.
Okay. A film you wish you had done, like film you wish you hadn't said
Yeah,
no to.
I was kind of offered Rang De Basanti, and then
Yeah.
they wanted to shoot in like 2 months, and I had committed to something, and unfortunately I could not be a part of that film. But when I watched it, I loved it tremendously. It's one of my favorite films. But now when I look back, I'm like, good, I didn't do it because it's perfect just the way that it is. Like,
Yeah.
I love all the characters for who they are,
But that's
So,
because you're looking at it now. Maybe it would
Yeah.
have also been perfect when you were there, right?
maybe, but some things are meant to be. Yeah.
Yeah. A film that taught you a lot and why?
Padmavat
Yeah.
taught me a lot.
Why is that? If you could just maybe.
It was a different dynamic, and I learned a lot being a part of that setup. That's it. I won't say more.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for talking to me,
Thank
Shahid.
you.
And here's wishing that you really do work that you love and you continue to connect with everybody. Thank you
Amazing.
for talking to me.
Oh, thank you.